Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Two Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. You know, we're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Two Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Two Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. So excited today. I've got author, filmmaker, L.A. Wade with me. So welcome, L.A.
What's up, everybody? It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you, and we've been talking offline. So I got us online because I thought the conversation was really good. We needed to bring that online, but we are talking about just being honest and transparent with everyone, and how that helps with people kind of accepting you.
Yes, I mean, when you own your shit, it's a lot easier. Kind of like when you say sorry to someone and you can say all of the reasons why you're sorry, it always makes the other person feel like,
That's right.
you know what? I think they really are sorry. And so this is how I decided to live my life.
I love it. When my son and I started the podcast, we had no clue what we were doing. We had no idea about the technology. We didn't have any idea about sound quality, anything. We were terrible. But we were very transparent about it. We didn't try to hide it. We just get on and talk about it and be like, okay, we screwed this up, but we're going to do this to fix it. And it helped us to build an audience.
It does, because people want to relate to you. They want somebody that's honest. They're tired of all the mediated representations of what they should be listening to. We have too much autonomy to want to like just follow the rules all the time.
That's right.
Now there are extremes, which maybe I have slipped into in the past, but I'm here now, and so I'm here for all of it.
If don't you think if we could all just accept each other, we don't have to agree with each other. Just accept each other, and that the fact that we each have our own opinions, and that's okay. If we could do that, we'd all get along a lot better.
I know, but I think the problem also comes in where we don't all have the same opinion, and some people have the right to dictate what our laws are,
Yeah.
and so that becomes the problem where we all have different opinions around certain political items, which you're entitled to that, and that's why I would never be in government, because I am too opinionated and too authentic to be in that sphere.
Well, you're in the right spot.
I don't know. I don't know what they would hire me for.
I always said we need that politician that is like that.
Yeah.
Just get in there and be like, yeah, I screwed this stuff up, but everything I'm doing from now on is going to be to help people. So whatever helps the most people, that's what I'm going to do. But we don't get that.
And those are the people that end up dead, just so you know, Mike.
Yeah.
So no thanks. I'm good.
We need that Harrison Ford type from Air Force One, if you remember that movie back in the day.
Of course, yes, totally. He could totally do that. But I don't know. I don't know if that would work in this age.
It would not.
You know, it's too bad because I think a lot more people are more intelligent than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
And we can usually figure things out if we are living in truth. So
Yeah,
that's
agree with that. Agree with that. So
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast. Let's start this way. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, what got you into writing? What got you into the entertainment business?
And that question always kind of like anyone who knows me knows that I'm like a digressor. So it's really difficult to just answer a pointed question. But as neatly as I can, my name is L.A. Wade, and I am an author. I am a director, and I'm a producer, and I've been a podcast host, which I really love. Like respect to you and all of the fumbling that you did to get here. I appreciate it because it's good that you're here. Your voice is so important.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I worked for the University of Toronto for 13 years. I was a registrar and sessional lecturer there. And I often use
That registrar work, that's not easy work.
registrar. Yeah, no, it's I was everybody's mom, basically, regardless of their age.
Yeah.
So I just have that kind of personality where I offer space to people to show up as they are, and they feel seen and heard and protected and safe with me, except for the people that I have fucked over, which they don't feel that. But I've turned into that more so, even for them, truth be told. But I had been through a lot. My father had passed away. I was married for 16 years. That came to an end. I was in 2 car accidents. I used to be a fitness competitor, and I can barely like walk around the block now.
Oh, yeah.
So everything kind of just started to go, really, really life, really, really, when does this end? Where's the bottom? Um, and I think after my separation, I started, even before, a little bit before my separation, I started to barter sex for love. I was terrified of losing my husband, of losing that stability. And so I knew that we were ending, and I started to look around for what else I could replace him with. And the world is much different than 16 years ago.
It's a little bit.
Just a little bit. I always share this story that one of my first dates outside of my marriage, I met this guy. He was near the airport, which I thought was a little dodgy, but you know, I was open. I don't know what's going on in these streets. I go in there and we have a great conversation. And I'm like, why didn't you ever get married so innocently? And he says to me, what makes you think I'm not married? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He said, it's 2018 LA, get with it. So clearly I have no idea what the dating landscape is. And I decided to go around asking questions about love, sex, dating, and relationships to figure it out, to help me. Yeah. And because people are so much freer with their sexuality now than it was even for me. I know I look young, but I just turned 50. So
You
so
do
I
look
just,
young.
yeah, I mean, I don't look 50, you know, I don't think I look
I just
50.
turned 54 myself, and I look it.
Oh, no, you don't look it. You look about 10 years younger than that.
Well,
And
I
that's
appreciate that. That's sweet, but
no, it's true.
I'm comfortable with the age.
I'm totally I mean, what woman says, hey, I'm 50 and puts it out there like that? I'm very
True.
comfortable with my age. But I just don't know what's going on in the world. So I wanted to go on a journey, an adventure towards my sexual sovereignty and my healing.
Yeah.
And what better way than to externalize it away from myself, because it's not always easy to you yourself say all of these things, which I used to do all the time on my podcast. But instead, I created a character, Miss Cali Church. And she is allowed to be all of the things that I'm not allowed to be in the world because she's a character.
That's right.
And Yeah, because of her characterization, we are a lot more accepting of her ups and downs because they don't know what part of it is real, they don't know which part of it is fake. So they're just like, wow, it's like a train wreck that you just have to keep watching. You can't look away from.
Yeah, I love the fact that you turned a difficult time in your life into something positive. Yeah, I think that's pretty terrific. I tell my wife all the time that I would be completely terrified if I had to go back out and date right
Oh
now
my God,
because it's been
awful.
so long.
No, you would end up just staying alone.
I would. And I think I'd be happy with that to some extent because it's so stressful, that kind of fear of getting back out there and dating. And that's kind of a shame because you don't want people ending up by themselves.
No, you don't want to be alone. But you know what? It took me a long time to get to a place where I said, you know what, I'm okay if I'm alone. Um, it took me a long time because I'm a serial monogamous dater. I'm not like when I say sex addict, I mean I'm looking for love. I'm a love addict.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I have to use sex to get it, then I try to do that, but that doesn't work. Just FYI, ladies.
No, no, that's a temporary solution.
Yeah, yeah. But it's completely distorted my vision of like what's real, what's not, what's safe, what's threatening. It really messed with my mind. I actually suffer quite a bit from complex PTSD.
Yeah.
I have a learning disability, and all of those things kind of plague on you as you're trying to think through, does this person like me? Does this person not like me? Is this person a threat? Is this person safe for me? I'm constantly neurodivergent in the way that I think about everything. It's
Yeah.
actually, yeah, it's overwhelming at times.
I bet it is. At what point during that journey, did you say, okay, I'm going to turn this into a book?
Last year I applied for the grant from, I don't know how it is in the States, but Canada is very giving to people who apply to grants.
Yeah.
And the place called the Canada Council of the Arts here in Canada. And my grant writer, his name's Carlos Anthony, and he also produced the movie with me. He told me, let's shoot something that's like an idea of what you are thinking about,
Yeah.
and then let's submit it to this grant. And so whatever it was that I wrote, the 3 or 4 pages of script, and whatever we shot, which is what I shot was a support group set up where everybody has their own crazy addictions and they're going up there one by one, and it's led by this facilitator that is just he's an African immigrant who has a PhD in proverbs, which his country doesn't even acknowledge, but nobody ever understands what the hell he's talking about. So, so that interplay was kind of what we showed, and then they gave me the money to shoot it for real as a short film, and I just myself and Carlos had the foresight to say we can shoot a short film, but let's kind of make it as a backdoor pilot so that we can
Yes.
see if the network is interested in developing it as something ongoing, because when you watch it you can tell that there's more to come. I have adventure after adventure after adventure. If you read my books, you're like, it's kind of like self-help porn or self-help erotica. That's kind of what the book is like. A lot of self-accountability, but a lot of failing at it. So that's what it's all about with me and these books. And I went for it, I decided while I was getting the film ready that I might as well try to write some of these stories down because I didn't have a whole script. So in writing the book, it helped me write the film, and I won best People's Choice Award for Best Author here in Toronto for my first book. I was very shocked to get that accolade because they had to vote for it, which
Yeah.
means that they cared enough to vote. And it's one of those ones where they make you vote all the time. So you have to have a pretty steady audience
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to
You
get
have to
that.
be putting something out there that people care about or they wouldn't take the time.
Exactly. So in writing the first book, in finally penning the screenplay off of the book, I always knew that I wanted to write a follow-up to the book, because I think that there's a lot to understand about a healing journey
Yeah.
while also just being a human being failing at it. And I thought that this would be a really great follow-up book to do friends with benefits, but mostly liabilities, because I've had so many different types of people in my life that I would have liked to have called friend, but ended up costing me way more than I was willing to give of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that title cracks me up. So it's The Adventures of a Recovering Sex Addict, Volume 2 is the second one, Friends with Benefits. but mostly liabilities. I think that's
That is correct. I actually have a SWOT analysis in the back of the book because, benefits and liabilities, you have to assess the relationships in your life like you do any other investment.
sure.
And some investments show you to sell, sell, sell. And other ones say, you know what, it's kind of messed up, but there's more strengths than there are threats and weaknesses. And of course, there's opportunities that come from the weaknesses that you can create or co-create with the person you're with. So by reading all of the stories, you kind of get intermingled with the decision-making process of why some people get blocked and other people is tolerated a little bit more, because there's more to the relationship than the liability.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've all been through those times where we're like, I've got these friends that I don't really want to be friends with anymore, but we've got this relationship going back, however long, and it's really difficult to cut those ties. But we had, my wife and I had a couple that we hang out with pretty regularly, but over time, we just stopped kind of getting along. I mean, not like we were fighting. It's just
Right.
we'd end up getting together and just having the absolute most boring evenings. They were just terrible. And we finally got to the point where like we gotta
Yeah,
stop hanging out with them. We're just wasting our time. And they're not having a good time either. But that breakup, that decision to just kind of let that go, that's not an easy decision. And it can have, ripple effects for years.
For years, and it can actually impact a lot of other people that you have mutual friendships
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So especially, and if you work in the same industry, even that could also have, adverse effects. So yeah, the SWOT analysis helped me assess um, how to determine, because I can't trust my own way of thinking because of the trauma, because of everything that I go through. I was like, I need to see this in black and white on a page where I can assess what's really going on here. And because I've decided to live my life as truthfully as I can, I can't say that I never lie, but I would say that I try to live as truthfully. And if I get caught in a lie, then I'm the first one to be like, fuck, yeah, I fucked up. I did it. I did it. But and so because I don't like that feeling, I try really hard not to do that.
Yeah.
And so I am able to say things to people that you wouldn't normally just say because I feel like I'm going to be alone. If I'm going to be alone anyway, I'd rather be truthful about it.
That's right.
So yeah, so I prefer the freedom of the truth than the bondage of lies. And
I like that.
yeah, I just made that up. That was hot.
I was going to say, you might be a writer.
Yeah, I don't know. It just comes to me. I call it my Holy Ghost writer. I think something is channeling through me, even if it's sex. Don't worry about there. Jesus died for me to be able to go through these pitfalls. So
That's right. That's right. Well, so has writing the two books and making the film, has we talked a little bit about it being cathartic. Has that helped you to overcome some of the issues?
100%. Every new interaction, I can see the growth in me, the confidence in me, the boundary setting in me,
Yeah.
the ability to listen without feeling completely invested in what that person says, as if it has something to do with me personally. Taking down the defenses of my life, has opened up a world of things, because I feel like when you do go through something with someone, you end up closer on the other side. So there are friends that I have struggled with to have more benefits than liabilities, because I could be a liability to the person that I'm interacting with as well.
Yeah.
There's blind spots. I can't see what's directly behind me unless I turn around and look at it. And so I think it goes both ways. And if we give ourselves grace, the people that deserve that grace and forgiveness in your life, which you can discern by looking at the SWOT analysis or just talking to God, you can figure some things out. And it takes courage. It takes courage to heal, basically.
Well, so is the book, is it all based on true stories, or are some of it just stuff that you've come up with?
Oh no. Oh no. I mean, I might embellish some of the sex scenes because I wish some of the sex scenes were the ones that I wrote in my book. I mean, come on. But at the same time, if you go back and like go digging through who is Ellie Wade, you might come across my YouTube channel where you can see a bunch of interviews and things that I've said out loud to people on IG Live or in interviews. I might have to take some of that shit down, but you can see you can see that I've gone through the process, that I've bared my soul. And so when you read some of the stories, you'll be like, that shit's true, because I remember when she talked about this in a podcast that she was doing before. So I kind of revealed a little bit too much, but at this point, what is too much anymore? Look, the society that I see us living in, I am tame compared to
Oh,
what
we're
is.
all putting everything out there. It used to be you kept everything to yourself. Now we
Yes,
keep anything to ourselves.
yeah, the Brits have finally worked its way out of our system, and we're full Americans now, all of us.
It only took a couple hundred years, but we got there.
We got there. Exactly.
Well, so when you start making the short film, and I love the fact, I was going to ask you if you were going to use it as like a backdoor type of pilot, because it seems like that to me. You've never done that, so how did you know where to start?
My grant writer had done a lot of non-unionized productions before,
Okay,
and always knew how to. He has a lot of resources. He knows how to gather people towards him to make them do things that they may not want to do. And
that's a very underappreciated skill.
honestly, I think he is really great at it. I have other issues with him that we might read about in the book, but all in all, he is amazing at what he does. I believe his intentions are in the right place. But just like me, we fumble our way through
Sure.
experiences. We learn more on the other side. That being said, um, he taught me enough, and we had the right people, like my DOP, movie maker Mitch. I love you, because I didn't know how to set up the scenes and the shots properly. I had ideas of my shot list, but then locations would change at the last minute, and the things that you planned,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you have to be able to go on the fly. And so the smartest thing that I did during this whole production is allow people to do their jobs and not try to do it for them, and to trust the process, that what I was looking at on that monitor was what it was that matched the vision that I was going for. And I think it allowed for a lot less pressure on set. It allowed for people to like laugh and go through the process. And we went faster than what I thought it would be. We took 10 days to shoot it. We had many different locations. And I had to introduce all of the different characters, because my book doesn't include those people that are in the movie.
Right.
It only includes the main character. So I had to create an entire world around my character and give them depth. And I think that I gave just enough of each person to say, oh, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
I'm interested in what happens from here. She literally ends the film with "Let the adventures begin." So, but it's ending. So where's the beginning? Well, let's look to HBO and Crave and Netflix and say, hey, they want the adventures. Let's
Yeah, we
go.
want to see the adventures. We don't want just the hint of the adventures.
Exactly. That's no fun, planning a vacation that you never go on. Boo.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. Well, and you've got a really good cast.
Oh, they're so awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, and a lot of them are first time actors, like the comedian Trix, who is like, he has like 244,000 people that follow his crazy comedic journeys all over the world. He lives in Vegas, and he's amazing. And I built the character all around him, because he is African, and he uses this idea of African proverbs that nobody will ever understand as part of his shtick. And so I wrote his character based on that person. So that's why it makes it easy for him to go into that role. But some of the key roles, I gave executive producer credits to the main characters that really have seasoned careers and have done a lot more in the industry.
Yeah.
Just because I needed them to ground the production in a way that allows the other people who are new, like myself even, to shine and get a little bit of exposure to what it really is supposed to look like. So when we're shooting and they have to do the same lines over and over again, the people who weren't seasoned were able to look at that and learn from the veterans. And by giving them executive producer credit, we're all able to like come together and push the production to where it needs to go. And so in that way, it's a community of experience, not
Yeah,
just
I love that because
um,
you're getting their buy-in by giving them, a title, which,
yeah.
I've talked to enough actors, they love those producer titles. So
Exactly, exactly. And they deserved it. I mean,
yeah,
they used their networks, their resources, and their talent to help leverage a film that they actually also do believe in because I that's the other thing. I made it comedic because the stuff that happened for real in my life is so heavy. And I
right.
knew that I was being healed by what I was doing when I knew how to make fun of it. And the last part of healing that I really want to offer to people to be like, oh my God, like they cringe when Cali Church is the name of the protagonist and Sharona Osbourne is the actress that plays her, and they can cringe at the situations that she finds herself in, while all of a sudden also laughing their head off when it gets reconciled with some comedic, outtake afterwards. It's really great.
Yeah, I love that. And good for you. It seems like you've got a really good mind for this type of work,
That
and
goes
you
a
just
long
kind of
way.
came to it later in life,
Yeah,
that's awesome. It's
yeah.
similar to me in the podcast.
There
I
you
was
go.
I was in sales for most of my life
Really?
and switched to podcasting, and I was just doing it to spend time with my son, and it turned into this. I was
Well,
like,
you
what do
got
you
me
know?
sold. You came from sales. You got me sold. You do a great job in selling this idea and the concepts of your podcast to the world. So that's why it's probably a really great crossover. For me, I mean, I used to dream like a camera lens when I was a young child. And what I mean by that is I would be dreaming, but I would be very aware of my mind panning
Yeah.
or zooming in on something in my dream. And I'm like, why do I just thought like that. I do believe that it was because my mom worked 3 jobs. My dad left when I was 10, and I was obsessed with watching TV. TV raised me.
Yeah.
I
I
would
get
watch
that.
so many shows, so many different types of shows. Benny Hill taught me some really naughty things when I was younger.
You're
That
aging yourself with the Benny Hill reference
I
because I
told you I
know.
was 50. I'm not joking. I really am 50. Benny Hill, Are You Being Served? The Carol Burnett show.
Oh yeah, classics.
Exactly. And those were the things that imprinted themselves onto me, along with the Cosby Show and the Different World and
Mhm.
Fresh Prince of Bel Air that came later. But, Looney Tunes. I mean, I learned so many things about the Industrial Revolution because of Bugs Bunny. It was just, it taught me so much. And I feel fortunate that was the era that I grew up in. They talk about being old as dirt. Well, this year they're celebrating 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm as old as hip hop. I mean, this is what is going on in my world, and I feel blessed to be able to be a part of many different decades and generations without the judgment of those generations because it allows me to learn from everybody and anybody, no matter what their age group is. I think that everyone has something to teach you about from their experience.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great way to be because it'd be really easy to go through the things that you've been through and to get kind of
Bitter?
jaded,
Yeah,
from it, get kind of negative about it. But you haven't
absolutely.
done that. You've turned it into this kind of learning experience with some humor. That's not easy to do.
No, and like I said, I didn't wake up like this. I had to I had to work really hard at it. I think that when people talk about quote unquote doing the work, um, therapy plus action is what gives you healing. And I did almost 34 hours of therapy every month for almost three
Wow.
years, and I really know myself. I've learned how to truly accept myself, and I know that I've hurt a lot of people in my life with the behaviors that I'm not trying to excuse it, but it is true that I had been abused since I was 5. I really did have negative experience after negative experience throughout the majority of my life. And to be able to arrive here, I never thought I was going to reach 25 as an age, much less double it and get to 50. So, so to be here, knowing what I've lived through, I feel like it struck midnight, I really got that I have turned a page in my life. I've done the work, and I practice it every day. My living is my healing, and I allow the adventures to continue and begin wherever I am. Just like this conversation, I'm so excited to be able to share myself with everyone because I think I'm pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I've come to
I
learn
agree.
that I'm actually really an amazing person.
Yeah,
And I don't
I
have to
love
bribe
the
anyone.
whole thing. I think what you're doing is so terrific, and I love the fact that you came to it when you did. You know, you were kind of at your lowest. It could have went the other direction,
Oh my God.
but now
Amazing.
look at, look where you're at now. You've got a whole new career out of it.
A whole new career. I feel so grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do when, because like all addictions, when, they it doesn't just go away. It's
Oh,
still
hell no.
there. You have to battle it every day. So when you're having those low moments, how do you keep from kind of sliding back into the bad habits?
Really, it just depends. Sometimes you binge, sometimes you're
Yeah.
able to abstain. And so um I heard this from a man once actually, that I'm not gonna find the one if I can't find the perfect pair of jeans if I don't try some on. And
Okay.
and he was talking about women, but and I'm very much cis heterosexual female. Um and so I also want to go out, and I love to meet new people.
Yeah.
I always think, could this be the one, which is the addiction part of it. But I've learned to keep it in the pants. I've kept the
Yeah.
cookies in the jar because I'm actually interested in who are you. And just like when I finished school, I thought, oh, I got to find a job. I got to find a job,
Right.
instead of what kind of job do I want now that I have acquired all of this information. And when I approached my job hunting from that perspective, getting into the university made more sense. Whereas I could have easily just gone and find a marketing thing or found whatever was being offered to me, which is how I was in my relationships. I go outside and men do want to talk to me, and I get that, but are they what I want? And
Right.
I never used to look at it from that perspective before. It was kind of like, oh, he's giving me attention. Is he the one? Oh my God, is this really going to happen? Let's go. I'm going to fuck him into submission and he's going to want to be with me. What an idiot. No.
You
Who
mean that
are
didn't
you?
work?
No, it doesn't work. Wakanda forever. Just keep it away. Um, I would definitely I would say that I've changed my approach in the sense that when I talk to someone, I legitimately am listening for what I'm looking for.
Right.
and I purposely don't tell the person what I want, what I like, because I just want to see if they're just like that. Because I don't also want to be the person that goes into a relationship trying to change someone so bad. Like, again, no, don't do that. Because it's going to wear off
That's
and they're
right.
going to turn into exactly who they are. And you may not like that person. And that is true for a lot of the relationships that I've had in my life. Had I just waited for what I was looking for, but I didn't know. So, I give myself
We
grace.
got no first.
I gotta know, who are you, LA? Who are you? LA stands for Lorianne, by the way, and which I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that, but I just did.
I'm
And
glad you did because I was wondering. I thought maybe she just
yeah, a
likes
lot of people
LA.
do. It's a great conversation starter. I started being called LA when I was younger because people like to abbreviate your name,
Mhm.
even though my name is not spelled as Lori and Ann. It's actually one word with no e's, no capital A's. It's one word.
Okay.
Yeah, one word, and it's not O, it's Lauriann. And but people would hear Lorianne and just be like, yo, LA. And then because of how I am, I also often got asked, where are you from? And they didn't mean it in that derogatory racist sense. It was more like, you are so fun that you couldn't possibly be from Toronto. You must actually be from California, which I am not, but I did live there for a while, and I really enjoyed my time in Marin County. Shout
Yeah.
out to San Rafael, Fairfax.
I'm a big fan of California. I think it's the weather helps.
The weather definitely helps. I think it rained once in the whole, maybe 10 months or so that I lived there. It was fantastic. I loved it. I did a lot of races there around the Golden Gate Bridge, and yeah,
Were you
it
a
was
runner?
I was not. This is cute stories. You might see when I talk about digressions. I love to digress. It's actually built into my new novel where I write something, but I have a bunch of sidebars, literally,
Oh, I
that talk
like that.
yeah, that talk about my digressions. But my ex-husband was a fitness guy, and he used to always say, "Oh, let's do sign up for a race," and I would always be like, "I'm a sprinter. I don't do that."
Short distances only.
Yeah, I have fast twitch fibers, not
That's
slow
right.
twitch fibers. So he's like, "You're gonna." He signs me up for this 5K race, which I freaking acted like I had run the marathon of my life, and it was a 5K. But he said, "Just set a small goal, and we're gonna do this." And so I trained for a little 5K, and I ran like I was walking. Did you ever see Oprah do her marathon?
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
yeah, my son could my son was a young child, could have easily run past her. But that's kind of how I started the race. And then I realized I can actually do this. I can pace myself. And I took off at the end and I went through the finish line and I dropped to my knees in such theatrics. Oh my God, it was amazing. And everyone's like, this is a 5K. What's wrong with this girl? But they didn't know that I couldn't even run on the treadmill for more than 100 meters,
Yeah.
maybe 200 meters. And so to do something like 5 kilometers, which turned into 7 kilometers, which turned into 10 kilometers, which turned into a half marathon till my knees gave
Ooh,
out.
that's awesome.
I would love to have continued that running, but what I really enjoyed was getting the stress out through weight training. That was really my
Yeah.
thing, and that's when I started to do fitness competitions, which I'm sure everybody's wondering, well, where's that body that used to be there? Listen, it's been 6 years of me trying to recover from the 2 car accidents. So
But so were you in a car wreck and then in another one before you recovered?
yes,
Oh, that's terrible.
January and then June. And both of them, I wasn't even like I was stopped. I wasn't doing anything to say that I sometimes people don't see that they're bad drivers. There's
That's
lots
right.
of people, right? But I wasn't moving. So I don't know. They just somebody had jumped the line and I was driving forward, but people started walking across the street because the light was green. So we both had to stop in the intersection and a truck wasn't watching. They just saw the green light,
Ran
didn't
right
realize,
into you.
drove right into the back of my car, missed the car that was in front of me just narrowly. And that first accident changed my life. And then only for the same thing to basically happen in June, 6 months later. And it just was, I know that I really believe that it was a gift to get me to stay put, to be able to write the things that I'm writing. All of the people that had to
Things
leave my
happen for a reason.
everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't supposed to happen. I would be wherever that would have led me. So my ability to turn my life around has everything to do with my purpose and what I've been set apart to do in this world. And I embrace it fully. And I look so forward to where else this is going to take me, because I have this feeling I
You're
just
just
have
getting
to,
started.
I'm just getting started.
That's right.
And I'm a risk taker. Even though I'm older, I'm a risk taker because I know myself, and
Yeah.
and that's somebody I'm willing to bet on.
Yeah. Well, as you should.
Yeah,
You should be able to bet on yourself. Most of us, though, never get to the point where we're confident enough to do that.
it's so true, but there's lots of reasons for that, I'm sure, right? Like our families don't exactly give us the woo, you're gonna be amazing when we're growing up. It's more like you're a piece of shit and you're never gonna amount to anything. Not every family is like that, but you know, some families are.
Sure.
Or jealousy, or there's pride, disability, all kinds of reasons why. But regardless of whatever your situation is, there are lots of benefits within you, and it's worthy of your time to go find out what they are.
Yeah.
Because when you play on your strengths, you know what you need to handle the weaknesses. And that's what I did with my movies. I placed the right people around me to allow something to happen that I could never have done on my own. Shout out to Katrina Medal, who was my production manager, my first AD, my support person.
Yeah,
I
you
will
got to
just,
have a good AD when you're doing
yeah,
that.
honestly. And she had worked for Carlos for so long, and I used my house for their productions before, and I liked how she worked, and she listens well, and she translates well, and that's what I was looking for someone to work with me side by side. She was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's terrific. That's terrific. Back in 2014, I was in a car wreck, pretty bad one. And it took, I'm going to say 2, maybe 3 years before I felt back to myself. You know,
Mm.
it's not an easy recovery from those.
It's not. It's not easy recovery in and of itself. And when you compound that with all of the trauma and the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment and the failures, it's really, honestly, I say in the beginning of my book that what I thought was being buried was really just me being planted. It
I
was
like
both
that.
in the dark. Yeah, it was both in the dark, but I had something else to bring forth, and so when that little thing sprouted on the other side of the soil, I think I started to water myself with the right people, got enough sunlight, did the things that are self care.
Yeah,
Community care is also, like, we talk about self care, but we never talk about community
true.
care. Because if we don't help one another, we won't have anything to sustain all of us. We need one another, and
We do.
yeah.
We don't do a great job all the time helping each other, but we need each other.
We do, we really do. I'm so close to my neighbor who we co-parent a dog together. We went through a terrible breakup. I was in my own feelings about everything, and I showed him a picture of a dog that I saw that I thought, oh my God, this dog is so cute. 3 weeks later, he drove me out to Woodstock, Ontario from this Amish family, and we picked up Riley, and she has changed my life. She
That's
has a
great.
chapter in my book.
Oh, that's great. Riley made the book.
Yeah, she made the book. She's in the prologue. It's Riley Life, my dog's guide to self-care and self-love, because she taught me how to really get my belly rubbed when I wanted to. Yeah. And not feel bad about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I think that's the biggest takeaway is you need to get to all of us need to get to a point where we're comfortable enough with ourselves that we're happy. I mean, that's the bottom line is we just want to be happy.
yes. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be happy? I know I do.
Yeah,
And I'm happiest when I'm telling the truth, even though I can feel that tinge of disappointment at times. That's kind of riding the wave of the loneliness of wanting to have a good relationship but not having one yet. But I recognize, and then I fill myself back up with something that I do love, that I do enjoy, and that's a way of kind of riding the wave of addiction. Is you might get the cravings, but you can fill it with something else. Get addicted to something else more healthy.
yeah.
You, although
Well,
weed is,
when sometimes life hits you hard in order to get your attention. So,
yeah,
you're going through this stuff and maybe couldn't quite get it turned around. So life says, okay, well, let's just put you in a situation where you can't move and you
exactly,
got tons of time to think about it.
exactly. Hello, pandemic.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
but here, it does work that way because sometimes when we're kind of living it, we're in the middle of it, it seems overwhelming. You don't even know where to start to try to turn the rudder or turn the wheel a little bit.
it's
So
true.
life kind of helps you with that. It seems like it's a terrible thing at the time, and it is. You got to go through it, but it's actually leading to something better.
Absolutely. I was definitely carried during so many moments of my life by something, a force that I, I don't see it all the time, but I definitely have recognized in retrospect that that footprints poem is something. Somebody was carrying me because those weren't my footprints. I would have just curled up in a ball and died. So somebody had to carry me during certain points of my life. Thank God.
Well, so the book, the
Yes.
adventures, the adventures of a recovering sex addict, volume 2, friends with benefits, mostly liabilities, which is my favorite title. I love that.
Oh my gosh, sing it to the rooftops.
I'm reading that and I was like, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be this type of book, but then it says, but mostly liabilities, and you're like, okay, it's going to have some fun with this one.
Yeah, like I said, self-help erotica, here we come. I
And
don't know
then
if
the
that
short
genre
film
works.
is Thirsty AF, the Adventures of a Recovering Sex Addict. And I
Yeah,
like that you're putting them both out there at the same time.
yeah.
I
That,
mean, who gets to do that? Nobody writes a book and gets a
right?
film out at the same time.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm supposed to do this. There's no other explanation other than divine intervention. The fact that I wrote one book and that I had the audacity to think I could write another one that would be of similar
The
interest.
second one was probably easier, though.
No, it
No, is
was,
it harder?
yeah, no, it was much harder because now I feel the pressure to give
Oh,
people
right.
a
Right.
lot more than what they got the first time. The first one has a lot more dating adventures, whereas this one talks a lot more, it's a lot more self-help than the erotica stuff, although there's definitely erotica stuff. It's the lessons that I've learned from failed relationships, from misadventures, from people you shouldn't trust, from people you do trust.
Right.
There's so many, and teasing that apart with the fact that I recognize the trauma that I've gone through and how it impacts my ability to interact and find love. There's so many people that those kind of things are in their blind spot. So I feel like if they're reading it or they're watching it or they're hearing it, it might hit them in a different way and occur to them differently. I always talk about not wanting to tell people what to think. I just want you to think. I'm an educator. Critical thinking is crucial to your survival.
That's
It's how
right.
you create resilience because you've thought something through. We just react to how we feel. I feel. Yes, I feel too. I feel too. We all feel. At some point, we have to hold ourselves accountable to how we are making ourselves feel and how we make other people feel, which is a big part of what my books and the movies are about.
Yeah, I love that. You should still podcast, by the way.
Right?
You should get back to that.
I am happy to be your co-host anytime.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got open invitation. Come on.
Okay, let's do it. I love to talk to people. There's too many interesting people out there to not talk to them.
That's
So
truth.
I like learning, and I think there's way more. This is different to be interviewed, but I still am curious about your life, and
I
what
get
sounds
it. That's part of the reason I love podcasting. I just like talking to people.
like you talked about your son and how you started podcasting to be with your son, and I was just like in the back of my mind, it's not about him, it's not about him. But I was like curious, that's a beautiful thing to want to do something like that with your son, and who I wish was on the show so I could tell him like
Well,
this is
when we started, he did these with me, but he quickly figured out he hated being on camera. But he really his day job, he's a librarian, but he loves
Aw.
to edit, he loves to market. He does all the hard stuff. So all
Right.
I have to do is show up, be a talking head, and then he handles the tough stuff.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that you have that type of relationship with your son to be able to do that. Because a lot of people, there's a lot of estranged people out there.
Yeah, I hate that too because there's something special about family, and there's too many of us out there that don't have those strong ties with family, and then you spend your whole life trying to create your own family to get the
You
things that
become
you never
thirsty
had.
as fuck. You just become thirsty as fuck. And the point of the film is to show that there's different people in the support group that have different addictions. So their thirst is different from my thirst,
That's
but
right.
we all have it. It's a diverse cast because there are diverse experiences of how we all interact with addiction as well. Sometimes culturally it's really taboo to even claim that you have an addiction. Sometimes it's like it's a given based on the family dynamics that would be their addiction. Like there's people like uh, her name in the movie is Katrina Kettles, but we call her Bree on the outside. Beautiful model from Guyana. She's just gorgeous, and we stereotyped her by saying that women that look like her are taken care of by men. So she's addicted to she's a kleptomaniac, but she's
Oh,
also addicted to getting husbands that can pay her to do what she needs to do in her life, which is close to my addiction, but it's a little bit more advanced because she has that like that physical pretty privilege that not that I'm saying that I'm not pretty, I'm just saying we know what I mean when I say that. There's certain
I
people
got you. Yeah, I got you.
like
She took it to a whole nother level.
oh yeah, she did. She did, and her beauty allowed her to do that.
Yeah.
Right? There's gambling debt, as gambling as
Yeah.
one of the addictions. There's somebody who's addicted to her anger and her weed cookies because the anger offsets the weed thing, and the weed thing offsets the anger, and so she's just
That's
a
a good one. That's clever because there's a lot of people out there like that.
Yeah. So it's hilarious. I do flashbacks, and her flashback is her choking the shit out of her motorcycle boyfriend. She's like a little tiny thing, and he's humongous. And she's got him in this box saying, "Say it, say mercy," type thing. And she burns him with this cigarette, and then afterwards, she's just in the support group, like, "What did you say?" Like, she just like as if the two people were like completely different.
Yeah, that's
I love
funny.
it. I love the characters. I can't wait to be a part of a writing team that gets to develop this into something that keeps
I
going.
feel like this is gonna get made into a show.
Yes,
It
yes,
just it's
for
too
sure.
good a material. It has to
Right?
be made. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I have jumped into the pool without checking the temperature, but man, it is fun. I love it. I love it so much.
HBO or I guess Max now, but that would be that's the one.
That is the one. Keep talking it.
I know.
It's on
Not
my
that
board.
we wouldn't say no to Netflix or Hulu or anybody else that wants to come along, but I think Max is the one you need to
This
get
is the one. It's a max situation all the way. Maximum.
on. Well, LA, thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait to see what you get going next. I
Thank you
mean,
so
two
much.
books and a film in what, a year and a half?
Yes,
That's
yes.
impressive.
Thank you. I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of the team that I worked with. My editor, who let me sit beside him and was like, "No, don't do it." He was so patient. Shout out to Wale Sholabi. Um, there's so many people that were on set. Even my little BTS girl, Samantha, who just captured some of the most funniest things behind the scenes. Even like the colorist who's also a photographer, his name's Sean Diamond. He didn't have to do this, but he went and got his camera and did some amazing shots of the main character, and just people coming together because they believe in the project
Yeah.
was really exciting. Getting the chance to work with Derek Bryn, who's our sound mixer, and Price, our music editor. Just so many people that are, but right there, example, sound mixer, 30 years in the industry, music editor, fresh out of school. But putting them together, they both learned so much from one another. And mentorship is a big part of what I do. I'm an educator.
Yeah.
I always look for opportunities for people to learn and grow. And I think Carlos and I had that in common, that we wanted it to be both a learning experience, but also one where the veterans could also lead the way and help show us all how to like move forward. So it was a really great combination. It was a good, it was a good cocktail.
Yeah. I love that. Did you put yourself in the film?
She holds the book a lot, and my picture's on the back of the book.
Okay.
So she did that. I was gonna go in there at one point when she's walking out of a door. I was gonna be walking in. I'm
Yeah, you
just like,
should have.
I'm waiting for when it gets picked up to then put myself because
Yeah. You got to have a cameo. As fans, we love those.
yeah, I know. I know. But I think if you look, there's many aspects of me in it. So she actually uses my cell phone. I have a vape that I don't know if it's free, it's legal in West Virginia, but
It is, yeah.
it's legal here in Canada. And let me tell you, when you're stressed out, you can microdose on a vape and make everything all right.
Well, you got to have some way to unwind.
It used to be sex, right?
Right. I mean, you got to have some way to do it.
Let me tell you, there are a lot of men out there where I would love to crash my wagon into them and fall off and fall onto them, and it'd be great. But I digress.
I love it. Well, LA, you've got an open invitation anytime. Just reach out. We'll get you back on. But best of luck.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you. This is
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I believe
this has
you.
been terrific. So, couple little things before we wrap up.
Sure.
Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, I have this idea for a reality TV show that could rival Love is Blind, but I want to wait till I get it in front of them. It's called Silent Treatment.
Oh, I
And
like that.
yeah, oh my goodness. The idea is so like, I just want to get in front of some executives because they just have to feel the force that is LA. I also want to do a documentary about pain. We pain through the perspective of like learning disability and social
Oh, okay.
pain, the disability of the pain of not understanding your own thought process, like
Right.
a different approach on pain that like I don't know if you're in pain, I can't see it, but there could be a pain, a pain body somewhere in there that we will never hear about. So I would love to be able to explore that a little bit.
That's a
There's
good idea because we all carry around something.
Yes, we all, and we can't tell. I can't read
Yeah,
what's in somebody else's mind. And
right.
it's just going to show, that our society just moves too quickly to honor and acknowledge somebody else's experience. And we need to slow down a little bit because we're railroading people. And
Yeah,
that's
you're
not cool.
right.
Yeah.
You have the best ideas.
I used to do this. Like people would come and say, it's almost like, let's put a joint in LA and see what the Holy Ghost is bringing down today. And that's how I live my life. Everybody comes to hang out and be like, okay, what's she going to say today?
Yeah, what she got today? I love
Yeah,
it.
it's a gift. We're hitting the film festival circuit all of 2024. Hopefully we get into them. And HBO, if you're watching this, I think at
Get it
least
done.
the meeting is warranted. At
Oh,
least.
agree. I'm making some calls.
Yeah, thank you. Because then we can hire you to to do
Oh,
something. I don't know,
there you
as our
go.
me. Like
Whatever
I
you need.
said, everybody has a great role, and when you let them do it, magic happens.
That's right. That's a great way to be. Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on social media?
So I have the cocktail brand, and when I say cocktail, I'm talking about the stories. So it's COCKTALES, cocktails.
Oh, I
Um,
like that.
Yeah, so it's called the Cocktail Brand, and that's where you can find me on Instagram. I also have an IG for the movie, which is Thirsty AF Movie, which you can find us on IG, where you can follow the adventures. And of course, just go to thisislawade.com. If you're in the Toronto area, there might be a few seats left to come to the screening. I'm doing a birthday celebration by releasing the book and then doing a sneak peek of the movie so that it's free for anybody who gets onto that guest list. And we've got a great list already put together. It's for November 15th at the Royal Cinema, 608 College Street, from 6 to 9 p.m.
Oh, that's exciting. Good for you.
Thank you so much. I am blessed. I truly am. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, you really are. This has been terrific. I hope we get to do it again soon.
Me too. Me too. And God bless you and your wife and your son. I'm so glad he got you to do this because
You too.
clearly you have a passion, and it was great to spend time with you today.
Thank you so much. Okay, hold on 1 second.
All right.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. L.A. Wade. I absolutely love her honesty, her openness, her willingness to discuss the struggles that she has had in her life. I think that's really commendable. It's so easy. We all go through those periods where we're not our best self. And it's so easy to get tied up with that. And some people never get out of it. But when you go through those rough times, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta look for it. And sometimes you have to make your own light. Not always easy to do. And I've been through periods in my life where I wasn't a very good person. I might have been a really terrible person. And, throughout my adult life, that those times have weighed on me. I felt so guilty about mistakes that I've made in the past. And sometimes you get tied up with that, you can't get out of it. it's so important, I think, to have that ability to forgive yourself for making mistakes. But once you forgive yourself, you actually have to work on fixing the mistakes or it never gets any better. And LA has obviously done the work. And she's not out there trying to say, okay, I don't make any mistakes anymore. That issue is behind me. You know, she doesn't do that. You know, she's very open about the fact, hey, sometimes I screw up still. You know, sometimes I backslide, sometimes I make mistakes, but she hasn't given up on it, and she just keeps working it. Just love that interview. I really enjoyed that. Please support her. The book is The Adventures of a Recovering Sex Addict, Volume 2, Friends with Benefits, but mainly or mostly liabilities. Love that title. It's the second volume, so her second book. The first one was came out last year, and then she's also releasing what I think will eventually become a TV show, but it's a short film called Thirsty AF: The Adventures of a Recovering Sex Addict. So please, if you get a chance, check those out and support her. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and apologies that the last couple of weeks I've been let's say under the weather. I've definitely had some health issues the last couple of weeks, and it has affected my ability to podcast. Not too bad. I sound fairly decent, but I'm still having some congestion trouble. I'm still occasionally coughing. You know, those of you that have been watching the program for a while, you know, I very rarely stop and take a drink during the interview. I don't like to have that unnecessary movement. But you may notice this time I had to take several drinks just to keep from coughing, and I hate that. I think I'm at the tail end of it. I'm just about over it, but want to apologize that might not be at 100% while you're watching, but I'm getting there. It's been a rough couple weeks, but I think I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're finding us for the first time, thank you. Love that you're here and would love to have your support. It's easy to do. It's free. You know, if you prefer to watch, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. That really helps us out. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, recently named us one of its top 100 podcasts. 15 million podcasts out there. To make a top 100 list, really big deal, especially for a small town podcast in West Virginia. We're a 2-person operation. It's just me and Brett. So it's a big deal for us to get listed, on a list that honestly contains big studio productions, big name stars. You know, it's a real honor to be on that list. I bring up imdb.com because if you go there, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, just bring the page up. That's all you got to do. It's free. Just bring the page up. That traffic on the page really helps us out. So if you can do that, we would appreciate that. You can find almost 700 episodes now. I think today we put out number 783. All of those audio and video are on our website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. It'll let you know if we're doing something in studio, if we're going on location, covering a convention, anything we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the Two Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. You know, not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. You know, those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube. It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to IMDb, imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, you know, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.